Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. Our guest this hour has been singing soul music since soul music hit the scene. At 85 years old, he's still got it. Perhaps he has more soul than ever. That's Charles Wigg Walker, singing on the stage of Acme Feed and Seed, bearing it all. At Acme Feed and Seed, he entertains brunch patrons on Saturday mornings. He also released some original music this year that we'll listen to this hour and, get the full backstory. Charles Wigg Walker, thank you for joining us on This Is Nashville.
Hey, man, my pleasure.
Well, let's actually go back to that live recording from the Acme. So much said without really a word being spoken. And I wanted to launch it with this. What makes something like that soul music when you just sort of listen to that expression on a stage?
Because it's coming straight from your soul. And that's all I know.
Well, that's what we're going to get at this hour is, what you know. You've been doing it forever. And one of my favorite things that I learned in prepping for this interview was that during the disco era, you took a bit of a hiatus. You're like, that's not my style. I'll wait for my genre to come back around. So essentially rhythm and blues kind of started when you started singing. You're born in 1940.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that at that time, they were not calling it rhythm and blues yet. Did you even know what style music you were singing when you started?
Yeah, well, I knew when I really started singing, they had already introduced rhythm and blues. Because I remember when I was a kid, I used to sit and listen to WLAC, and of course, they played country most of the time.
Yeah. And
then late at night, they would play blues and with a little rhythm and blues in that mix. So.
Yeah. Well, and I think that there was a group that you started with maybe when you were like, in 6, 7, 8 years old, the Bel Airs. Was that an a cappella group?
Yes, it was. But I guess I was about 14 or 15.
Yeah. Well, what kind of music did you all sing with the Bel Airs?
Kind of doo-wop music. And then we started venturing off into more soul and blues.
Yeah.
But we started off just singing like everybody else at that time, like standing on the street light singing doo-wop.
I mean, this sounds like a movie or something, but it really did happen that people were gathered under a street lamp, just sort of trying to pick up a song and sing 4-part harmony together.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, this would have been in an even more segregated Nashville, correct?
Yeah.
Was this near Jefferson Street or?
Well, Jefferson, it was right. We lived at 4th and Buchanan.
Yeah. Well, talk to me about that time because, the time that you were growing up, people have looked back on now and call it kind of the golden age of Jefferson Street. I mean, there's a little museum that's even dedicated to this that is open from time to time. So what were things like back in, I guess you talk about late 40s, mid 50s?
Yes. Well, things, at the time, we didn't really know whether it was rough or not. It was just living a life. But as you get a little older, you understand what's happening. And as a matter of fact, I remember back when we were really young, pretty scary things used to happen. Like the Klan used to march up and down the street. But Buchanan, around Buchanan, it's called Salem Town, as a matter of fact.
Right. Yeah.
It's really a really kind of a mixed neighborhood. It always has been, but those things did happen.
Yeah. Well, so you grew up singing in church. Was this your family who encouraged you to do that, or was it just what everybody did?
Well, yes, my mother very religious, and my grandmother too. So it was no such thing as not going to church. And so I would sit in there and listen to the choirs or the group singing, and I started out, I wanted to do that, and I did it for a while. But I found out that I wanted to go a little deeper than that, a little farther than just the gospel.
Yeah.
And then I put a group together with me and a bunch of guys from school, and it's called the Bel Airs. But they were a good little group. We got a lot of good press, so to speak. And as a matter of fact, I was singing with that group up until about 57, I think.
So like kind of when you're late high school, ending high school. Yeah. Well, you all performed, I believe, in some of those famous clubs on Jefferson Street. What did that look like?
Well, back then, it wasn't really a lot of what you might say is the Del Morocco was mainly the biggest club on Jefferson.
The Del Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was more like a cabaret kind of place. Mm-hmm. And we used to sing in there, and we used to sing at the Elks. And we sing it anywhere we could sing. Find a place in a corner somewhere we'd sing. Getting
paid for it or not?
Yeah, we would get paid.
Yeah, yeah.
At first we didn't get paid. We just was happy to be up there.
Yeah. If you're just tuning in, I'm Blake Farmer. This is Nashville. Our guest this hour is Charles Wigg Walker, sort of an R&B pioneer who grew up here in Nashville on Jefferson Street, went away for a bit, New York, Europe, and then spent the last few decades here, still making music every week. We realized we needed to have you on for an episode when we were talking to Tom Morales, who owns Acme Feed and Seed. Huge fan of yours, as you probably know, where you perform on Saturdays. But he was trying to tell the story of white producers going to Jefferson Street to find talented musicians. I think one of the stories was about Chet Atkins, kind of going to Jefferson Street to sort of, what was the culture like on Jefferson Street, the sort of the nightlife that even, white producers would kind of come looking for talent?
Well, that was a little later in the late 50s. And because I was singing at a club called the New Era in Charlotte. And it was probably the hottest club in Nashville.
Yeah. So you're saying at that time, that was the kind of place where, you're sort of on Charlotte, almost not across the tracks exactly, but sort of, in a place where you might have white producers, music industry types who are also in the crowd.
Yeah, I used to see, it wasn't so much a mixed audience. It was mainly all black, but every once in a while, I did see Chet Atkins and what's the guy, guitars, Roy Clark, and a few others came down, and they used to come down every so often. Every every once in a while they'd show up.
Yeah. Well, did you see much crossover between what I guess people would have at that time been starting to call country music and R&B, or was there a pretty stark divide?
Pretty stark divide. I think we only had one black guy that was DeFord Bailey. And DeFord was he played at the Ryman and all that. But he also played bass for me,
Really? Well, talk to me about starting to record music. You cut your first record with a producer named Ted Jarrett, who I was not familiar with and realized I should be familiar with this person. I mean, he was very well known. Did you know him well?
Oh, yeah.
Sounded like he was kind of born into this prosperous family, black family in Nashville, and then I think there was some violence in his family. Kind of became fairly destitute, and then became this producer that was really sought out. Has a long story, but how did you link up with him, and what did y'all record?
Well, some of the guys that were the first guys on. What was that? I think it was the record label was called Champion. So there was Larry Birdsong and Earl Gaines and a few other. Oh, Jimmy Beck, the orchestra, and he had a big hit with "You Can Make It If You Try." Gene Allison.
Gene Allison.
Yeah.
What's that? How's that song go? You can make it.
You can make it if you try.
Well, let's make that a hit right there. So your first release with him was by a group called Charles Walker and the Daffodils.
Yeah.
Who were the Daffodils?
I don't know.
Well, I read that the Daffodils were really nobody. It was like some other people from the label who just sang backup for you.
Yeah, it was some of the guys from the label.
Yeah.
And a bunch of brothers, Larry Birdsong and Roscoe Shelton and all those guys. They would do their lead. They were lead singers, but they would get in and do background singers for the other people.
Where did you all record? Were there studios on Jefferson Street?
No, I recorded on Music Row.
Were there overlaps with other sessions that were going on? I mean, were you welcome on Music Row?
Oh yeah, it was welcome on Music Row. It was. At least I didn't see anything that I would think otherwise. When you start getting into the music thing, it's a different thing about prejudice and that sort of thing. Music is music, and that's why. Like I said, like Chet Atkins or Roy Clark, they used to come down to the club every so often. It was kind of weird because they would be the only two in there.
Only two white guys.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's even in such a segregated era as then, it brought people together.
Oh yeah.
Because they said good music's good music.
You can count on music. Music can definitely bring you together.
Well, so at some point you run into James Brown in Nashville.
Yep.
And he says, well, if you're ever in New York, look me up.
All right.
Were you performing with him, or do you recall what that initial interaction with James Brown was?
No, I went to see his show.
Oh, you were just there to see him.
And, of course, after they finished their show, they try to find one of the clubs that has acts that they would like to go and see somebody. And they came down to the New Era.
And you were performing?
Yes.
So he saw you sing.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, look me up if you're in New York.
Right.
And then you decide to go to New York, and you do look him up, which we're going to get to when we get back. We actually need to take our first quick break. We're with Charles Wigg Walker this hour, legendary Nashville soul singer, rhythm and blues pioneer. We'll get more music and more stories coming up, so stay with us. This is Nashville.
But now I see how it is. I caught you in a lie.
Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org. Funding for This Is Nashville comes from Burr and Foreman Law Firm, serving clients with transactional, litigation, and regulatory needs. Discovering how each client defines a win and working with them every step of the way to achieve it. Burr.com.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. This hour, we are spending time with a man who connects all of us back to the rhythm and blues music scene that thrived in Nashville. The 1940s and 50s were considered the golden age of Jefferson Street in North Nashville. The Jefferson Street Sound Museum tells the whole story. Our guest today cut his teeth in that scene, then went to New York to become the opening act for one of the biggest entertainers of the time, James Brown. All these decades later, Charles Wigg Walker is still making music, including a release this year. Here's a bit of the title track.
There you were, such a special thing. Told me I should give love one more try. I'm so glad, girl, you blew my mind. I know this love is gonna last. Oh, I can feel it inside, and I know this feeling will never pass.
That's Charles Wigg Walker, our guest today with the title track from his new album, This Love's Gonna Last. Have you always been a songwriter?
I wouldn't say, I wouldn't say I've always been a songwriter. I just actually, I started writing around when I was with Chess Records, and I didn't write a lot of songs then. I was just dipping, dabbing with, helping out on songs, help writing songs. And I still do that. Every once in a while I write one on my own, but most of the time I'm co-writing with someone else.
Yeah. Well, what it does inspire you to write a song? If you know, the songwriters who I know, it's like they have something within them, and they'd be writing songs whether they could make a living doing it or not. It's
right.
just they're almost poets or something. But for you, what does it take to inspire you to write a song?
Well, different things, like take for instance on this latest album, the last cut on there. I was having a conversation with my wife at the time, who's recently passed, but
This is Marva.
yeah, that song. I started writing that song back in the bathroom. Then because we had an argument or something, and I told my co-writer Charles. I said, "Man, I'm gonna write this song about trust." And so I went back and I sit down there and started writing this song, and I took it over to Charles, and he put the music to it.
This is Charles Treadway, who you write with. Let's go ahead and hear that. It's about trust.
Now here we are, just so much we haven't done, but we have each other now, and all the best is yet to come. You see, I believe in you, and the things you do show how much you care. I'll always love you, and you can count on me until the very end. 'Cause it's about trust, and nothing in the world should come between us.
Still got it, y'all. So you write that song because you're in a little spat with Marva, who you were married to for 30 years?
30 years.
I heard you say recently that it's actually hard to perform that song because it gets you emotional. Why?
Yeah, it got me emotional right then listening to it. But it's a song from the heart, and and when her passing, it just brought it even more. What I was trying to let her understand, just a little trust, and things would be all right.
She died about a year ago, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was she a musician?
Nope, she wasn't a musician.
Yeah. But so in what ways did she kind of support you in being a musician, even over the last 30 years?
Most of the time by not getting in the way.
Saying you go on and do that, yeah. Did she want to be in the crowd, or did she kind of let that be your thing?
She was there a lot, quite a lot.
Yeah.
And she knows a lot of people, and they would come out. And a lot of her people come out, a lot of her friends, and so it made for a very, very nice setting and it was a good marriage,
Well, it's beautiful. I love that it inspired you to write a lot of the songs that are on this album that's just out. Let me back up, and I don't mean to, I'm thinking if I was talking to a friend, it would be uncomfortable to be like, well, let's talk about your first wife. So apologies for this, but if I understand correctly, the reason you left Nashville initially was kind of because you were in a mixed relationship at the time, and that was sort of uncomfortable. Do I get that story straight?
Well, that's somewhat of a straight story, but it was back in the late 50s and early 60s, because I left here in 61. But the thing is, you're still a young kid out running around and running up and down Jefferson Street, and every once in a while, there would be white girls involved. So that got kind of hot, and that was part of the problem.
Yeah. So you leave New York, or leave Nashville to go to New York. What were you planning to do?
Perform. All was on my mind. I get there, and I knew I didn't know whether James was going to accept me or not.
Oh, so he was part of the plan the whole time. You're going up there to find James Brown.
Yeah, I knew if I was going to move ahead in this business, I had to get on the coattail of somebody else. And because just walking up into New York, you're never going to get in a studio,
Yeah.
Or you're not going to get on a big show like that,
So you head to New York and you go straight to the Apollo, right?
Right.
So how did you find James Brown?
Well, I live right across the street, right behind the Apollo Theater, right off 125th Street. And, he had been there. He was there all the time, so he came there quite a lot. But I didn't go the first time I seen him. I heard he was there. But the second time I heard he was there, I got my nerve up, and I went over there and knocked on the back door. And the guy said, opened the door and said, yes. I said, my name is Charles Walker, and I'm here to see James Brown. And they don't let nobody in that door. And but I heard James upstairs say, let him in.
Pretty good impression there. So he remembered you.
Yeah.
You made an impression back at the New Era Club.
Yeah.
Well, if you're just joining us, I'm Blake Farmer. This is Nashville. We're talking to Charles Wigg Walker, an R&B pioneer here in Nashville who, plied his trade on Jefferson Street and then spent some time in New York. And we'll get to Europe here in a minute before we come back to Nashville. But so how does he start to use you, support you as an artist?
Well, at that point, at that time, J.C. Davis was the band leader for James Brown. So he put me in, got me into the rehearsals. I mean, they rehearse, they get it strict stuff. You don't fool around.
Because the act was sharp. I mean, it was basically choreographed, right?
That's right. And that's part of my story because I would go out with them. I would be the opening act. And JC and the band would be playing behind me before they played with James. And then, but see, I was fooling around. After a while, I wanted to be, I realized that just walking out on that stage and I opened my mouth and start singing and people start hollering and screaming. And after a while, I wanted to add more material. But James has strict rules. There's no such thing as you're going to do what you want to do.
Well, he was kind of notorious for this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Firing people and
He
on the
fired
spot.
me several times.
But always brought him back.
Yeah.
Because he remembered him from the New Era Club in Nashville. So what did you do that were you just, trying to extend your time on stage?
Yeah, I would. If I was to do 2 to 3 songs, that's what you have to do and get off of there. But I would add a medley of songs within those 2 or 3 songs.
So technically 2 or 3 songs, but somehow they went a little long.
And yeah, we go over your time, but he had this guy, the road manager, and when James would come out, he just start doing the fives. Was just saying, every time he did that, it was $5.
Like he was docking your pay $5?
That's right.
So what, he'd hold up his hand in a 5 and it's saying $5?
He'd hold up his hand, but he would flicking like...
Oh. Kind of burst his fist open.
So every time he did that was $5. And he wasn't paying me all that much anyhow.
All of a sudden you're working for free. Congratulations, you got to play for 20 minutes though. So what did you learn from James Brown though? I mean, obviously he's such a character and just larger than life, and he's a name so well known. And I wonder, working with him, what you took from that and kind of folded into your own act.
It was the most important thing in my career because I didn't know anything about. I know I put on shows at the New Era for 2 or 3 years. I was there, but I do whatever I wanted to do, But with James, it's timed out and synchronized, and you're gonna have to do just that and get off that stage. But the main thing I wanted to learn from James was how to do a professional show, and a lot about the the business of music, not just out there fooling around. You have to learn something about the business of music. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what did he teach you about the business or was the teaching just that you got to be concerned about the business?
He didn't. I don't know if he knew what I was doing, what I was looking at him all the time about. But I was just trying to learn the professional way of doing a show. I had to do that to stay out there on the road with him.
Yeah.
And I was out there about 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
And it was a learning curve. I wanted to find out about show business.
Yeah. Well, so what takes you from New York to Europe? I think you ended up in London. What was going on?
Well, during that era of the disco era, I took off about 3 or 4 years. I don't have anything against disco. It just wasn't my style.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't want to.
I didn't want to change my style.
Change your style. Got it.
And disco was big, and as you know, but I just couldn't see me doing it.
Yeah. So was Europe maybe a little more open to still enjoying R&B?
Well, I was sitting at home at my gallery in New York, and I got a call from London, one of my old records. And they said they wanted me to come over and do this record. They sent me a ticket, me and my wife.
And by do this record, it's sort of like go perform for it, have a tour in Europe?
Well, I was singing this. It was a big club out towards the I guess it was the lake, a big lake, and it was a lot of people there with vans and tents and stuff, and it was a big crowd. And I was absolutely. They wanted me to sing this song, but lip sync it. But I didn't do that. I sung the song just like it was on the record.
Yeah. Well, so it's not like you just went over to perform one time. It sounds like you decided to live there. Did you ever come back, or did you just say, "Hey, we're going to stay"?
Well, I came back after a while. I got a chance to do some more. She and I started doing some shows around.
Because she was a performer. This is Barbara?
That's Barbara.
And she was a pianist?
Yeah, she was a top-notch pianist. She was a concert pianist.
Wow. So you all were an act together?
Yep.
And you toured Europe. What did that look like?
Well, you know what happened was we would add a couple of pieces to, when we got gigs, I'd add like a couple of pieces, maybe... it would always be a percussionist, and usually a guitarist or bass, and we would do shows. It was more at that when we were doing shows with her, she and I. It was more like jazz on a jazz style, and because she was a concert jazz pianist, and so I went along with that. I can sing any kind of style. Don't make no difference to me, you know.
Where'd you tell people you were from? Like at that point, did you kind of feel like a New York cat, or were you a Nashville guy?
Well, I still would say I'm from Nashville, but I live in New York. But I hadn't been in New York all that long,
right?
You know, and so no way I was going to call myself a New Yorker.
Hadn't earned it just yet. Well, we're going to get you back to Nashville when we come back, but we need to take one more break. Folks, this hour we are with Charles Wigg Walker, an R&B pioneer from right here in our backyard in Nashville. Still performing. We will get a little bit more on that music and harvest some wisdom from a man who's been singing soul music since we even had the term soul music. Stay with us. This is Nashville.
Yeah, you did now. You must have been wishing, baby, to the stars above for the big bell. Yeah, you must have. If you don't need me, come on, tell me. Come on, try it, yeah. You can't say it, babe. Wait till you have to find another way.
Funding for This is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. We're joined by Charles Wigg Walker this hour. He is not just a living legend, he is a performing legend. Every week, he's on a stage, soul, rhythm, and blues. He started singing R&B when R&B was just becoming a thing. He's written more of his own music in recent years, including a new album called This Love's Gonna Last, which we've been talking about and hearing a bit from this hour. Charles Wigg Walker, thank you for being on This is Nashville.
Oh, I'm having fun.
All right. Well, on this new album, I know that most of the songs are about Marva, who died last year. And I wonder if did she hear these songs?
Yes, she heard them. As we were going along, she heard them, because I had rough mixes.
Yeah.
And she got to hear, let me see, did she get to, yeah, she got to hear the album. Yeah.
Yeah. Was she moved by it, or is it like, frankly, with my wife, who, it's like, yeah, nice, I like what you're doing there. Sometimes things that I think might be, big displays of affection don't come off maybe as I intended.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure that's probably the same way with me. She never did give me that really overexcitement kind of. She just said it's good,
a part of her job was to keep you humble. Okay, you're up on that stage, dancing around and dropping mics, so let's talk about you coming back from Europe. You're touring Europe with your first wife, who was also a pianist playing jazz. What brought you back to Nashville?
Well, that was my second wife.
Okay.
And my first wife was, we left, I got married here in Nashville.
Oh, I see.
And went to New York, and we stayed together for about 15 years. And then I got with Barbara, and she was a musician. I hired her to play piano in a band I was putting together there,
I see.
But she and I, we did a lot of good things together. We went to Europe together, and we had an art gallery and everything,
Oh, when you said earlier that you were in your gallery, you were saying that you all had this art gallery in New York. Wow. Well, so what sent you back to Nashville, though? Was still family here, that kind of thing?
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, most of my family was still around, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I had to get out of New York. It was time for me to leave,
Yeah. And what is it about New York? I mean, I feel like even these days, often people do a tour of duty in New York. They don't necessarily think of, living there forever.
I really did think about living there forever, but the thing is, throughout all those years, you have a mixture of problems and rewards and whatever. But I just felt like after my second wife passed away, I felt like it was time for me to pull up stakes and do something else. And the only place I could think about...
Your second wife, how did you say she passed away?
Yes.
Wow.
All of them passed away. My first, second, and third.
Wow, so she must have died rather young.
Yeah, I mean, she was a couple of years younger than me, I guess.
Yeah, but this would have been in the 80s.
80s.
Wow. So you said, "All right, I got to get out of here," I guess.
Yeah.
So you've even these songs that you've written on this latest album, you have mourned for a wife who has passed before.
Oh yeah.
Wow, more than most. Well, so what did you find when you came back? Was it the Nashville you left?
Not quite. I think you think all places have to, it either going to grow or just disappear. But Nashville had grown quite a bit. But as far as the music scene, I didn't see it as it took a little while for me to really catch on to what was going on here in Nashville again, because all the clubs, it was still here, but a total different story. Mm-hmm. And the Club Baron and the Del Morocco and all this up and down Jefferson closure, and a lot of them were all closed. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that seems like a pretty sad state of affairs to come back to.
It is, but it wasn't so hard for me. I was getting gigs as many as I needed. I was working quite a lot. So.
In other words, you were not just a sort of a performer up and down Jefferson Street at that point. You play wherever you
pretty much.
What kind of places would you play back in 80s, 90s?
Well, I played at BB's. I played at Prentice Alley, Blues and Boogie Bar. Mm-hmm. I played Third and Lindsay. I played a lot of places.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of places.
Would you tour kind of in the region?
Well, I wouldn't say I was touring in this. When I do a tour, it's like I go out for weeks or months or so, and That's what I call it too. I mean, otherwise it's just doing gigs.
So you might do that are,
Yeah.
Cincinnati, Cleveland, Louisville or something, but that's not a tour.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you, but you were full-time making a living as a musician still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in the 80s, not in the early 80s, in the 70s. That's when disco came in, so I was doing a lot of things just trying to make it. You can't live in New York on your morals. I mean,
Well, what did you do to get by?
well, I did everything. I had at the time, me and my group we had broke up around 72 or something like that. Right after we was out there we went to Las Vegas. We played in Las Vegas. We stayed out there for 2 months, and right after that, me and the Sidewinders broke up. But that was my group at the time.
The Sidewinders, when you were in New York,
Yeah.
the group was the Sidewinders.
Mm-hmm.
So what'd you do? Just take the band van and
Yeah, 'cause I
start
had-
renting it out?
Yeah, I had a couple of vans that I bought when I was with the group, which the group was using,
Yeah.
and the instruments too. But I let them they could keep the instruments. I didn't care.
But you were the band leader. You weren't just the
I was the band leader, and
front man.
and I financed a lot of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Did I understand correctly? Was Red Fox really a regular at your shows when you were in Vegas?
Oh, that's where I went to Vegas. I was opening the show for Red Fox, and the big act. I mean, the closing act was the Bar Harbor Marimba Band
Okay.
and Red Fox. But Red was a big reason why I was booked in Vegas. He's the one really got me the job. Yeah.
You've done such big things with familiar household names, but it does seem like this music that you've put out this year is sort of getting notoriety in a new way. Maybe it's because not that many R&B singers in their mid 80s putting out new music, but you were on NPR's Weekend Edition earlier this year talking about this album. I wonder what makes you think why are you getting noticed these days?
Well, I think I don't know exactly but from me performing down at the Acme, a lot of people coming there from all over.
Which is not a huge crowd. I mean, right?
I know, but it's an enthusiastic crowd.
That's what I wondered.
That helped me a lot with what I was doing too.
When you started singing at Acme on Saturday mornings, did you think that it would be something that would get you more attention, or was just, well, this would be a good way to keep my singing voice up, It
was just a job at first, but then I realized that it is on Broadway, and although it's at the end of Broadway.
Yeah, it is kind of, for those who don't have a map in their mind.
Or you could say it's the beginning of Broadway.
Well, exactly. It's basically, if you go any farther, you're going to end up in the river. It's right down there where Broadway tees into, I guess that's First Street.
Yeah.
But it's kind of at the end, and kind of a lot of the newer honky tonks are a little bit farther up toward Bridgestone Arena. So it's a little bit off the beaten path, even though it feels like it's in the center of Lower Broadway. But Acme Feed and Seed is very big on having artists who they let play their music. They want have them play original music. Can you sense that people appreciate that?
Yes, I can see it every week, every time I sing down there. Because I observe the audience. That's my thing. That's how I can know what to do for the audience. But the thing is, by me performing all these years, I found out to really, if you just go up there and close your eyes and don't look at your audience, or even get together and talk with them, and before I go on the show, a lot of people come over and I talk to them and we have a good time and talk about this. A lot of people, because it's an international crowd, people come from everywhere, so. I just talk with them, and then when I'm performing, I look right at them. I look over the people in the audience, so I can pretty much tell what to do and what not to do. I don't plan my shows ahead.
You said, forget James Brown's suggestion now. We play to the crowd.
Yeah.
Well, do you still have your moves? I mean, don't you have kind of a patented move, sort of a mic drop move?
Yeah, I can still do that. Well, like you said at the beginning, I sit on the stool now. Mm-hmm. But I can still drop that mic without even looking at it and catch it in my hand down between my legs.
What now? All right, so you're holding your microphone that's on a cable, like an SM57 or something, and you just like sort of drop it out of your hand that's in front of your face.
I'm looking straight ahead.
And catch it with your other hand that's out of view almost.
Right. That's
a hot move. That'll get the crowd going. So what about, there's a move I heard that I'm guessing you may not do anymore since you're on the stool, but maybe fainting? Would you faint on stage?
Oh, that was part of that James Brown thing when I got the first gig I got in at Small's Paradise in New York. I just put this band together, the Sidewinders, and we went down to do a show, and I was doing part of my show was part James Brown kind of show. You know, James used to pull that act where he falling out and all that. Uh-huh. So I did that. I was singing "Please, Please, Please," and at some point I just fell off down on the stage, and so the bouncers picked me up on the shoulder and was taking me down to the dressing room. So I said, "Man, put me down. Put me down there. I didn't faint. That's part of the act."
Wait, you fainted on stage as an act, but then you went with it. You laid there, and the bouncers picked you up?
Yeah. They picked me up and was taking me down to revive me, I guess. I said, "Man, put me down. I'm not. That's part of my act." He said, "Well," the manager said, "Well, you won't do that act in here no more."
Well, James Brown was ready to get you off the stage anyway, so, you know. Well, you've had such a long career, and yet you've had a career that's done so many things. You know, you've toured playing jazz with your wife through Europe. I think you even sold hot dogs or something in New York in the disco era, and you sort of rent out the old band van. And then you get back into music, and you're still making music. There are a lot of musicians here in town who do other jobs now, you know, who kind of feel like, I don't know that I can be a full-time musician. I wonder what word of encouragement you might have for them from, you know, somebody who's lived it as a musician and journeyman 85 years.
Well, you're right about that. There are a lot of guys playing around in the clubs and this and that, but they're not making enough money to live on, you know.
Is the answer really just to do what you love?
Just do what you love.
What have you done?
What I love. Everything I do on stage, I don't just do songs just to be doing them. I don't do songs because people request them. I will do that if it's part of my show. But most of the time, it's what I want to do on stage. And I know I can hold the audience with what I'm doing. And when it gets so I can't hold it, it's time for me to get off the stage.
Well, you have our attention, I'll tell you that. We've had the pleasure of listening to Charles Wigg Walker this hour. He performs most Saturday mornings at Acme Feed and Seed to the brunch crowd, and there are other shows peppered in here and there. So keep a lookout around Middle Tennessee. Charles Wigg Walker, thank you for bringing your voice to This Is Nashville.
It was my pleasure. It was good talking to you.
Thanks for tuning in this hour. This is Nashville's a production of Nashville Public Radio. Today's episode was produced by Mary Mancini. Tasha A.F. Limley is our managing editor. Our board operator is Liv Lombardi. The masterminds behind our theme music are LaRange and Namir Blade. Listen back at thisisnashville.org or wherever you get good podcasts. You can also just ask a smart speaker to play the latest episode. This is Nashville. I'm Blake Farmer. Go in peace.
Cloudy sky. Somebody's in the shadows watching you. Gonna reach out and grab you before this night is through. Love's gonna get you. Love's gonna get you. Love's gonna get you. Love's gonna get you, babe. Scream all you want to. Nobody's gonna help. Love's gonna get you. Love's gonna get you. Love's gonna get you. Love's gonna get you. Listen here. Gonna creep up on you. It's lurking in the bushes. It's crawling on the ground.